What's up, my beautiful, diverse American people? It's Monday. I just want to start today by letting you all know I love you all. Every single one of you, even the ones that just don't like me because of the color of my skin, because I speak about freedom, because I speak about diversity and inclusion, and about embracing the founding fathers' vision of a nation built on freedom, because that was it. They didn't want anything else other than freedom. So this morning, please stop unaliving each other over stupid shit. Stupid little arguments are ending in people losing their lives. If someone goes out and speaks their mind in a free nation built solely on freedom, they do not deserve to die for those views, regardless of those views. Charlie Kirk was a young man who, in my opinion, was a groomer, was financed by right-wing agendas to infect the minds of young Americans through ignorance and hatred. Death does not change that message that he was spewing. So we all have to understand that freedom of speech means that you can disagree with someone's message without wanting them to lose their lives. I would have loved to have been able to debate Charlie Kirk face to face and destroy and dismantle the ignorance that he was spewing. Because if you all noticed, he only addressed young people. People younger than him that could not debate or defend against what he was spewing. And they did. I mean, a lot of those young people were out there and kept calling him out. But because he was financed by malevolent forces, he was felled by the exact same ignorance and hatred that he was putting out to the world. So I want to put out love. I want to put out love and intelligence. And I want to be your next president because I think that leadership through love and intelligence is going to get us much further, create a much better population than one driven and fueled by ignorance, hatred, and greed. Ignorance and hatred towards humanity itself, and greed above all, because that's the only thing they understand. We don't need a nation that's rich. We need a nation that's prosperous. And you measure prosperity by the lack of despair, the lack of hatred, the lack of ignorance, the lack of hunger, the lack of poverty. That's how you measure the wealth of a nation. Not in a handful of beta boys hoarding wealth just so that they can say, oh, look at that Democratic City, how bad the crime is. Yet they've been starving those cities for decades in red states. Just so that they can say that. Because they need a finger to point at. So like I said, I'm going to do things differently. I want to just take a couple of minutes just to recap and just bring you guys up to date. I know there's a lot of videos and there's a lot of information that I've put out about myself personally. And before I get into this, I don't sleep much. Today's Monday. Today we are starting our day, but my day started way before the crack of dawn. In fact, one of my friends, rest in peace, her grandson used to say that Georgie would wake up at the butt crack of dawn. That was his expression, because since I was a kid, I've woken up early, one of those early risers. My grandmother was like that also. I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, and I'm fine. I mean, I'm not peak efficiency. Yeah, later in the day I might want to take a nap and stuff, but that just depends on the day and what I'm doing. But, you know, the question is that I keep asking myself, why? Why would I even think of wanting to be the president of this nation? Because you see it in all my videos. I always say that we are the greatest nation on the planet. America is the greatest country in the world, and that is my opinion. I sincerely believe that. But, you know, like every sentient, thinking person, I ask myself, why? Why do I feel that way? Why do I think America's the greatest country on the planet? Has it been that great for me, to me personally? And when I ask that question, the answer is no. Everything that I set out to do had obstacles in place before I ever started. I was the first video store in Miami, a little store named Primo Video, that I started with 10 videos, VHS videotapes. 10! And within a year, I had over 2,000 videos go through that store. And the growth was phenomenal, but I couldn't get any kind of loans. I couldn't get any kind of investors. I couldn't get any kind of support to get that to grow. Because I had a magazine before Blockbuster even existed, that I created, I published, I designed, I put together. I bartered the printing with one of the print shops that I used to work for and did and design for. So it was a generic, homegrown magazine for that store, where I put the movies that I had in the store, and I put little ads for the little stores that were around me. And it grew and it grew, but I couldn't capitalize on that. I moved on. I've worked for some of the biggest engineering companies in the southeastern United States, working on projects, building tunnels and bridges and overpasses. And I did a study that I put together, the binder. It was a binder that was this thick, for a corridor from Orange County, from Levy to Orange County, that would prevent power outages through the state of Florida. I was the graphic artist that put that proposal together, that put those binders, because there were hundreds that we had to put together for the presentation and for that proposal, and we got the bid. So I've worked on big projects to impact the community. But the question that I ask is, why would I want to be president? That job that I did got that proposal for, a few weeks later I was let go. I was fired by a jealous, angry little white beta boy who took offense to the fact that this brown kid, because I was a kid directly out of college, that this brown kid came in and put together a proposal that I had been bouncing around for 6 months in the department, because it was so big and so massive that nobody wanted to get involved with it. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to touch it. But here I came, this kid, ambitious, just wanting to prove myself and show my talents. I took on this project, put it together in a matter of weeks, and landed the proposal. A multi-million-dollar project. I was the one that put it together and landed it for that engineering firm. Not going to say the name. But ignorance and hatred derailed that possible career. I then went on to work in marketing and advertising and graphics. In South Florida, we did a lot of catalogs. I did a lot of fashion, worked with some of the most beautiful women in the world, some of the most talented artists, designers, creators, putting their works out to the city, putting their work out to the community in catalogs. I worked on a catalog for a company that was, I don't know if you guys remember, but there were these catalogs back in the day called Spiegel catalogs. That was all about fashion, clothes, pretty much everything you can order through Spiegel. It was the internet before the internet. That was in this big catalog. So we did a version of that for Germany. And that's where this point about language that I talk about. This was in South Beach and Miami Beach and South Beach, where the office was for this firm. All of the hierarchy, all of the management, the designers, the creative were all German. And the staff was obviously all from South Florida, Latinos, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans, white people, American. I mean, everybody. Everybody was part of that diverse, talented team of creators. So there was one young lady who was Colombian, beautiful young lady, who spoke English, Spanish, and German. So she was kind of the translator. Well, the translator. She was the studio manager. So she was the coordinator with all of the artists and all the designers and get our messages. And, after I've been there a while, the art director, who was German, would come and tell her, stand over what I was working on and tell her, well, do this, do that, do that, do that, in German. And after, like I said, after being there for a while, I said, wait a minute. He said to do this, to do that, to change this, to move this, to make this lady bigger, to move the purse over, whatever the instructions were. And she goes, wow. How did you do that? I go, because my ear has picked up a lot of the language. Because that is intelligence. When you can understand multiple languages, it's not a crutch. It's not a bad thing. It's a sign of intelligence. And when you can't do it, it's a sign of a lack of intelligence. And I don't want to offend anybody. It doesn't mean if you only speak one language, you're stupid. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that people who can manage and understand multiple languages do it because it's a talent. Because it is intelligence. That's it. Doesn't make them better than anybody else. Does it prove that they have that capacity. So the question of why I want to do this, why I keep making these videos and asking you, the beautiful, diverse American people, if you want a president who is just like you, someone who's not a billionaire, not a millionaire, not a politician, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a libertarian, I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, I'm not a Marxist, I'm a fucking American. That's it. And I have lived every struggle you have. I have gone through every problem, every issue that you've lived through. You've survived. I've gone through them just like you have. Which none of these people in office ever have. Because if you fell ass backwards into wealth, you don't know the difficulties of meeting your obligations at the end of the month. You don't know the difficulty of having to go to the supermarket with 30, 40 bucks and have to buy food for a week. You don't know that. I do. You do. And that's what we need. We need a president who comes directly out of what we the people. Not someone who came from, simple means and struggled and grew through politics and to strive to become this. This is someone who's a career politician. That's not who I am. I've never wanted to be president of anything. I'm doing this because I dream of sitting in the White House. The other day, I said it in one of the videos, I had a dream where we were granting full statehood to Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico became the 51st state. I don't know if that's what Puerto Ricans really want right now, but the point is that I dreamed about it. And I'm sure there are a lot of Puerto Ricans who would love to put an end to this half-ass Americanism that they want to, malevolent forces want to use when they need them, and then let them wilt when they don't. So that I dreamed that I had made Puerto Rico the 51st state in the nation. Well deserving. because Puerto Ricans have fought in every war. My brothers and sisters are Puerto Rican. My cousins, by blood, are Puerto Rican. Because we are a diverse people. So, the answer to the question and why I keep doing this and why I say that America's the greatest country in the world, really, when it hasn't been to me and to the millions of us, and I figured it out. It hit me. It hit me. I love my country. I love America. I love my country. And I'll tell you what it is that I love about it. It's the idea. The idea that this nation is. That's all it is. It's an idea that the founding fathers had of a nation built on freedom. And that's what I love about this country. As a brown, long black hair little kid who was great in sports, talented in art, a straight A student, and because I was so shy, I would put a couple of wrong answers on quizzes and tests just to not be singled out. Because one time, the first time I had a perfect score on a test, or not the first time, one of the, 2-3 times I had perfect scores. My teacher, who I love, Miss Harrison, singled me out and had me stand up and told the class that I had perfect score and I had the perfect grade 3 straight tests, and I wanted to die. I was so embarrassed. I did not know where to hide. Because I was that original kid in the hoodie, in the corner, sitting down in my own little world, doodling, drawing on everything, because every notebook, every textbook, everything that ever entered my hands became a canvas to draw on. Something to express whatever I was thinking. It was Vans were big in the day, so I used to draw custom Vans all the time. I had all kinds of characters and especially baseball, football. I was always drawing those kind of things. And space. I was always fascinated by outer space and travel and the future, and a lot of ways. My mom said, I think you were born too early. Because I was always thinking ahead. One of my cousins, my cousin Albert, I don't know if he watches, but he said to me one time when I was a kid, and I never forgot it, and angrily turned to me and said, you know what your problem is, kid? You don't know how to think small. And that's been my blessing and my curse my entire life. And that challenge of making something out of nothing is, I think, what drives every artist. Every creative person, every individual writer, singer, dancer, you're making something out of nothing. And I think that might be one of the reasons why I want to be your next president. Because it's going to be a total rebuild. They are dismantling every democratic force, every democratic principle that this nation has been built on will be destroyed by the end of the 4 years. So it's going to be a full rebuild. And who better to rebuild than a talented, creative individual? So let me give you just a few of those ideas that have never been heard before or outside of my videos here, and you guys that listen have heard. But one of the first executive orders will be what I'm calling the Border Empowering Humanity Act. And that is going to be, instead of terrorizing and attacking our institutions of higher learning and taking away their funding and threatening with them with military or whatever ignorance they're trying to do, we're going to do an empowerment center right at the border where people can come who are looking for opportunity. We're going to be able to house, train, educate, and then send them all over the world to fill jobs and careers and opportunities that are just waiting for personnel, waiting for trained workforces. So we're not going to criminalize people for wanting a better life. We're going to help them achieve that better life. And that's an example of leadership through love and intelligence instead of ignorance and hatred. So that's just one. I want to institute what I'm calling a citizen graduate program. Basically designed so we don't have to keep scraping the bottom of the barrel to fill our law enforcement positions. Yes, we have tremendous first responders, some great human beings, great people who become police officers and dedicate their lives to law enforcement. We also have the bottom of the barrel. People who could not get into college, could not get a job doing anything positive, were a blight, were a slapped around, bullied their entire lives, and had no other choice than to either join the military or become police officers. And we have a lot of those. We have a lot of those. Awesome at what? Yeah, America's been awesome at creating ignorance and hatred. That's the only thing I've seen, James. I love you, brother. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you for interacting. But yeah, we deserve better. The point is, James, we deserve better, bro. We deserve better. Project 2025 is their constitution. That's why they don't respect our constitution. They don't respect the founding fathers' vision. They want to impose this white supremacist, Christian nationalist, mumbo jumbo bullshit that is just ignorance and hatred covered in a flag and put in a cross. That's all it is. So a citizens graduate program is a program where the top graduates of these universities across the country who have received grants, funding, scholarships, will have to dedicate at least 2 years to work in their local police departments. The idea is that some of these brilliant people are going to love serving their communities. They're going to stay in law enforcement, and we're going to elevate the talent and the intelligence of our first responders. They get great training, don't get me wrong, but if even the greatest training, if you start with a problem, you're just going to weaponize that problem. Yes, there have been excellent turnarounds and people who started as horrible people and became outstanding, successful officers and then leaders. And we want those. We want. That's why it's not closed. We're not closing it. We're elevating it. So that is one of the programs. Yeah, I know some parents are going to say, I don't want my graduates serving for the police department. Well, I'm sorry. I don't want idiots serving for the police department. I don't want to continue to scrape the bottom of the barrel to fill positions that we need to protect us, our important positions. And that's kind of the same thing that's happened throughout the country because good, successful, positive alphas have not been running for office. They've been busy doing what they do, running their businesses, being successful, enjoying life. So who has filled that vacuum? I got nothing to do, I hate everybody types who sat around, watched Fox News, and decided, I'm going to go help the president. I don't believe brown people should exist in this country. And the churches have weaponized it. The churches have festered. The white Christian churches have been spewing ignorance and hatred for decades. So the citizen graduate program will go a long way towards enriching our communities with talented people. I'm going to pass what I'm calling the Patriot Billionaire Fairness Act, which is a call to our tremendous, beautiful, powerful billionaires that we're going to ensure that your patriotism stays in this country. So we're going to put blocks on all your wealth leaving the country. Your wealth has to stay in America. So there is not going to be any removing your money out of the country, because we're going to go back 5 years when I take office. And then within that 5-year period, you began to remove your wealth out of America, you're going to have some serious problems. Because patriotism means all of us. It means making our country prosperous, not a handful of people. So the Patriot Billionaire Fairness Act will tax billionaires. And that will go a long way to solving the problem. That is, within that bill, we're going to raise the cap on Social Security and just end any kind of problem that our seniors will face moving forward. It's not going to happen. We're going to fix. I'm about solutions. And that is the solution to that problem. I will sign an executive order on day one that churches that have been involved in political activities will be taxed. That's it. They can continue to be church. They can continue to spew their messages, but they will be taxed. And that tax of these mega churches and institutions of political agendas, that funding will go directly to fight poverty, to fight hunger, to fight homelessness, the things that they should be doing, along with mental illness support, led by Love and Intelligence. It will be part of that executive order to do forensic accounting investigations into the past 10 years of these churches, and they will be taxed accordingly. SCOTUS has obviously become a political tool. It's not about we the people. It is not about fairness. It is not about the center. It is about a right-wing agenda to impose a Putin, Castro, Trumpy style autocratic dictatorship. So there's going to be a centralization act, which will include term limits, which will include a code of conduct. And I'm considering an executive order for a temporary expansion of the Supreme Court to get it back to the center where it should be. Because right now it's dangling over the right edge over there. So I need to think about that a little more, but I'm not gonna divorce myself of the idea that we may need to expand the Supreme Court, maybe even on a temporary basis, just to get the balance back to the center where it should be. Because I remember every TV show, every person, every interaction, anything that was even just a little bit unfair, the go-to response by everybody was, I'm going to take it to the Supreme Court. Because that was where we knew fairness was the overriding agenda. The fairness. The middle. We don't have that. We don't have that anymore. So it's become a tool for agendas. So we're going to make sure that that ends. Supreme Court needs to be fair, neutral, right down the middle, not on either side. It cannot be politicized by presidents, by legislators. It has to be fair and neutral. And the only way to do that is by a rotating system of term limits, or we'll figure it out. But we're going to change. I'm going to pass an executive order that the Democrats wanted to do already, and every Republican went against it. But when we have all three branches, I'm going to pass an executive order, and we're going to end gerrymandering. Period. It's going to be ended. There's going to be a one-time adjustment using AI to create fair, equitable, diverse boundaries across the country that have equal amounts of Democrats and Republicans on all boundaries and all districts. That's democracy. That's fairness. So that is another one of these outside the box ideas that I'm going to make sure that we as a nation enact to make sure that freedom is protected. That founding fathers' vision, that idea, that is why I love this country and why I do what I do. So I think AI will do a better job at redistricting these maps than dumbasses with Sharpies cutting out their voters. Because once upon a time in America, the people chose their politicians. Now we got politicians choosing their voters. That's not democracy. I don't know what you want to call it, but that's not democracy. And this is a big one. This is a big one because this bothers me, man. I don't know about you guys, but as you go across the country, you start to see this repetitive toilet in every city, in every state, in every community of these same cookie cutter food restaurants, the franchises, that's it. There's no personality to each community. You used to go drive across different cities and just the smells of the food, the music you'd hear was all different, was all diverse, was all a beautiful, beautiful melting pot. So to get back to empowering you, empowering the people, because I see in Midwest states the apathy, the lack of entrepreneurial spirit. People who don't want to do better because they know they're just going to get taxed more. That's fucked up. That goes against development, against empowerment. Like I said, we're going to do a lot of things differently. So one of my big, and this is the thing that's going to be my personal pet project when I'm president, and it's a reimagining of the Small Business Administration. Because I think that is the backbone of our prosperity. We need to empower you to run your business, to start your business. And not just because, I started a lot of businesses in my day. And every time I'd reach out to the Small Business Administration, and it was bullshit. Bullshit. The best that I could ever get from the Small Business Administration was a SCORE advisor assigned to my business that we had the appointment. And when this advisor came, it was this old, white, retired guy, a nice guy, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying about him being white, that wasn't the problem. But obviously someone who has never lived the struggle, did not understand the community that my business was in, And that was all the Small Business Administration could do. So I'm going to reimagine the Small Business Administration. We're going to actually provide funding for you to go start your business. We're going to provide training, education, guidance, so that you don't have to go buy a franchise, so that you can use your own innovations, your own family recipes, your own concoctions that you make for your kids that they love. That would make a great product for your community. So the Small Business Administration, I think, is going to be my pet peeve, my pet project, because I know it's never been about small business. It's never been about empowering small business. It's been about controlling and seeing which we can pick and choose to connect to the people who can help them. If you're not the right color, not the right nationality, not the right business, not the right advisor that you're connected with, you're never going to get that. I had one guy, and the second time that I did score, this guy was a young guy that they sent, and his brilliance and his vast knowledge was for me to get on Credit Karma, because Credit Karma was the way to get the funding and get the end. Naive nonsense. So the Small Business Administration is going to be my big push, my big, personal product that I want to see change into actually an empowering force for small business. I love you guys. I love every single one of you. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care your nationality. I don't care where you came from. I don't care how you got into this country. I care that you love this country. Because I love this country. And I keep saying this is the greatest nation in the world. And it has not been the greatest nation in the world to me and to people like me, to you. But the idea is what I fell in love with since I was a kid. This brown, poor, moderately educated, moderately intelligent, moderately talented man, Latino man, knows I can do better. Because I love you. I've been you. I am you. That someone who fell ass backwards into wealth, declared themselves a genius, could ever even begin to understand. They've never lived the struggle. They've never had to figure out how you're going to meet your obligations at the end of the month. How to buy your kid those new shoes because his feet don't fit in the shoes anymore. That's why I say I think a great president would be a single mom who raised 3 kids on her own, despite her idiot husband, and created educated, intelligent, good human beings. That's leadership. Not falling ass backwards into wealth and start buying crap. Because if you can bankrupt a casino where a business that is designed for your patrons to lose, you couldn't make that succeed. You call yourself a businessman? That's why I say I'm not interested in wealth. The $400,000 a year salary that the president gets, to me, is the best motherfucking job I've ever had. So I'm gonna work like it's the best motherfucking job I've ever had. Now we're not getting that right now. We have someone who doesn't give a fuck about the $400,000 because they are stealing. They've already stolen $2.9 billion. And growing, and I'm sure that number was based on months ago. That's not what government is for. The sole purpose of government is to make your life better. That's it. Not to be your daddy, not to tell you who to vote for, not to tell you who to pray to, not to tell you who to love, how to dress, what color hair to have. Not to be your daddy. It's to make your life better. And that's what I'm going to build. I'm going to build a government that is by the people and for the people, like the Founding Fathers envisioned. They were not politicians. They were not. They did not want to be leaders. They were men who were fighting for freedom. A cobbler, writers. So I'm saying a writer. A writer is a detailed, deliberate human being. So if a writer is writing a document, you can be pretty sure they're going to put what they want in there. And if they wanted a nation based on Christianity, they would have put it in that document. Because 5,453 words are in the Constitution. Not one of them is Jesus. Freedom. Not one of them is Jesus, Christianity, God, Jesus. Not one. I think writers would have put it in there if that was important to them. They went out of their way to build a nation that was not involved, pushed, or driven by religion. They knew it was the poison pill. They knew religion was the poison pill that can destroy a government, that can destroy a nation, that can destroy a people. What's up, my brother Vince? Love you guys, bro. Spread the word, my brother. Spread the word. We need one of us. There's another. There's another outstanding man. I've known him through baseball for all my life. I've known him because when I wasn't playing with him, I was playing against him, pitching against him. One of the toughest hitters I've ever had to pitch against. That is leadership. That is a man who's involved with his fraternity still and his HBCU university. A man who does the work of empowering people. Everyone he knows, everyone he touches, this man makes better by his love and intelligence. That is the kind of leadership we need. One of us. A real American. Someone who has been through the struggle. And I love you guys. I love every single one of you. So please, guys, please, can you stop unaliving each other? Can you speak with words? Can you use your words instead of your lead? You're going to get a lot more from it. You're going to grow because I have interacted with people on these platforms who have come out hard on me. Hard! And after we've spoken and interacted a few times and I've told them my views and my vision and that I love them, you can hate me all you want. I'm still going to love you. They say, well, geez, wait a minute. Maybe he's onto something. Maybe I shouldn't hate just because someone looks different to me. And that's all I want to do here. If I can get just one of you guys to change your mind and embrace love and intelligence for humanity over ignorance and hatred and criminalizing people because they want a better life, because they look different, because they love somebody else, we're going to get a lot more out of life and become the prosperous, loving nation that we have within us. I see the love. I see it, guys. I see you guys. Yeah, there are haters and there are people who come hard at me, but the vast majority is love. I see the hearts populate as you guys come in. I see it. I see the love. And we are a nation of love. We're not a nation of ignorance and hatred. This is an aberration in our existence. The textbooks will write about this as an age of ignorance and hatred for humanity itself. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to make sure that you have a president that represents you for the first time ever. We've had military leaders, we've had political leaders, we've had entertainment leaders. We've never had someone come directly out of We the People. And the reason is because, the American presidency is something that you purchase. We have the illusion that we get elected, but it's not. It's purchased. And we've reached well over 1 million people because of you guys, and I gotta thank you guys. I love you guys because I don't have resources, I don't have funding to post, promote, to buy ad space. Everything has been you, generically through you. I get misty because that's love. That is love. And over 1 million of you have listened to my words, have shared my words, have shared my videos. That just asks you what type of president you want. Do you want a corrupt billionaire, career politician? Do you want a lawyer? Or do you want someone who is just like you? Because the requirements are be over the age of 35 and a born American citizen. I check both those boxes emphatically. My father served in the U.S. Army and disappeared. I serve going into neighborhoods and into communities, doing the work for you, the American people, that the beta boys with badges and guns wouldn't go in. We go in there to do the work of the American people. So that's bravery. You got a gun and a badge. I don't see you as a brave man. I see you as a necessary officer. But that doesn't make you brave. Doing it without a gun and a badge, that's bravery. Wearing a mask and kidnapping 13, 12-year-old girls off the streets in their middle schools is not bravery. That's cowardice. And that's where the scraping the bottom of the barrel to fill these law enforcement jobs is evident. A good thinking, intelligent man will say, no, bro, I ain't gonna do this. I'm not gonna attack my own people. I'm not gonna attack girls and women and people looking for a better life who are not criminals. That you've criminalized by removing their protections and calling them criminals when all they're doing is looking for a better job, for a better life. And I'll say it again, if you are a born American citizen and you are worried about losing your job to someone who does not speak English, it's not on them. It's not on them. Look in the mirror. That's where your problem is. It's not on the person looking for a better life. It's not on the person more qualified than you that took that job from you because of your lack of intelligence. I love you. I love you guys. I love the American people. And I'll say it again. I love what I love and why I do this. Why I'm taking on this enormous challenge of literally zero to hero. It's because I love the idea of America. That idea the founding fathers built a nation on, that was freedom. That's what drove me. That's what made me love America as a little kid. I always knew that freedom was what made this country great. The freedom to live your life how you want, not how a small group of betas are telling you to live it. So I want to empower we the people. Giving you a few of the, just a rough bunch of scribbles. But I think they're going to go a long way towards ending this ignorance and hatred. One more, and this is a big one. This is a big one. this is a big one. On my first day, I will sign an executive order to change the name of the White House to America's House. That will remove any ignorance or any assumption or any connection at the idea that it's the White House because it belongs to white people. It's over. That is America's house. America owns that house, not the occupant. So it's going to be America's house. It will no longer be known as the White House. It'll be America's house, owned by we the people. That's right. And again, one of those crazy ideas that I put out there, and it's based on that. We the people own the White House. So why can't we just evict them? Why can't we get a lawyer with cojones to file eviction papers, and we will get 1 million signatures fairly easily? I'd say overnight. Again, one of my ideas that are outside the box. Make way too much sense. But we deserve better. We deserve better. You deserve better. Your mom deserves better. Your kids, your grandkids, those that haven't even been thought of, deserve better, because this moment will decide that for them. These next 3 years will dismantle the Founding Fathers' vision. So we're going to have a full rebuild. We're going to have to rebuild our institutions through love and intelligence. We're going to have to rebuild our courts through love and intelligence. I want fairness. I don't want just leftist or middle of the road judges. I want judges of all spectrums. And we need a middle Supreme Court. We need a fair and just Supreme Court, not one that'll bow to either agendas. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a libertarian, I'm not a Marxist, I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, I'm not anything other than a fucking American. And I'm tired of the ignorance and hatred, because both sides are complicit. That's why I say we need someone outside of all the mess. Someone who has no connection to any of this. No ownership of any of this. That's the only way we get through. Because anything else is just complicit and stirring the pot. It's going from right to left. They're going to stir it from left to right. It's the same shit. So we need to do things different. God bless you guys. God bless the American people. I love every one of you. White, black, Latino, Native, European, Asian, Middle Eastern, European, Caribbean, Iberian. I love every single one of you. Every single one of you. And you know why? Because you are all inside my DNA. You're all in my blood. And I will prove my DNA that shows that I'm black, Latino, Native, European, all the things I mentioned. That's why I will be the first president ever to represent every single one of you. By blood. God bless you guys. God bless the American people. Hey, football started. We got a football season underway. We're getting down to the nitty gritty and the end of the baseball season. So, you know, the playoffs are going to start. And then, you know, to me, that's Christmas when baseball season starts, especially if, you know, my Yankees are in it. I'm so disappointed in them right now, but I'm going to just focus on the game itself. We the people. I love you. My name is George Delara. CrazyandImpossible.com. I'm going to post all of my what I want to do, because these guys they all talk and nobody actually puts out a plan. I'm going to put my plan now. And it will adjust, and it will change, and it will grow, but it's going to grow for your benefit, not for the oligarchy. I will not accept donations from any corporations. I will not accept donations from any billionaires. It has to be you. It has to be we the people. And again, that could change. There are great companies out there, and you have to fight fire with fire. So, like I said, there are no absolutes in life, but I guarantee every decision will be for your benefit. That's never been the agenda. It's been for the benefit of whatever little group is financing or funding or behind it. Or I'm going to put an end to that. I'm going to put an end to that. We the people. We the people. Oh, let me finish about the dream. I didn't finish. I had a dream that we were in the process of making Puerto Rico the 51st state. Again, I don't know if that's what the majority of Puerto Rican people want, but I dreamed it. The point is that I'm sitting in the White House, and that was the dream. And I didn't say the second part of the dream. The second part of the dream was that we were buying Cuba as the 52nd state and create a natural border, a natural protection for the entire southeastern United States with an island barrier and a nation that is rich in resources that have been untapped and are literally unknown to this day, because the autocratic dictatorship there doesn't put money into the country, into the social development. It's just an autocracy. Like my grandfather used to say, la ley del embudo, the law of the funnel, wide at the top and narrowly dripping down at the bottom. And they're trying to choke that off in this country. They don't want the drip. They don't even want you to get the drip. So we're going to do things differently. I'm going to do things differently. I am a president. I am a person who has cojones. Something they don't understand. Latinos know that, especially Cubans and Puerto Ricans. We know cojones. Venezuelans know cojones when they see it. Dominicans know cojones when they see it. And that's what we need. No more beta boys. No more followers. Putin came to give orders, not to be told what to do, because I would have told Putin what to do. I would have told him he had 30 days to get his shit out of Ukraine, or Ukraine was going to get instant entry into NATO. And now his problem is against all of NATO. That's cojones. Not saying, what are you going to do? What do you want? Oh, you want me to end the voting ballots? Oh, yes, okay, Daddy Putin, I'll do that. Because they're followers, they're cowards. So I'm going to put an end to that. God bless you guys. God bless the American people. My time is about to go. I've done my say. I love you. I'm George Delata. I want to be your next president. Not a billionaire, not a millionaire, not a politician, not a lawyer. I'm just a regular middle-of-the-road American like you. I've lived every struggle that you have. I've overcome every struggle that you have. And this is the biggest challenge anyone has ever undertaken, because I am a zero. The country I love destroyed every opportunity that I had, that I envisioned, that I created, that I pulled myself up through my bootstraps to create. And here I am. I've been homeless. I've been sick. I've been successful. I've been at the top. I've been traveling wherever I wanted to. And had that all taken away, destroyed by ignorance and hatred. And I want to make it better. I still love this country. I still love the idea of what we are. A nation of opportunity. People don't come to this nation to rob and to steal. They come for the opportunities. And ignorance, hatred, and despair drive them to crime. Because crime is a product of ignorance, of despair, of poverty, of hunger, of oppression. That's what drives crime. So if you've been creating a system that has been systematically disenfranchising communities, attacking neighborhoods, redlining, defunding democratic cities so that you can turn around and point a finger, that's not a we the people mentality. That is a beta boy bitch. Woe is me. Look at the bad people over there mentality. So we're going to put an end to that. God bless you guys. I love you. I love every single one of you. We the people, all right? I'm George Delara. I want to be your next president. CrazyandImpossible.com will become more and more the central message location as this moves forward. And I'm going to say it again in closing. There is no place for political violence in this country. There is no place for political violence anywhere. There's no place for ignorance and hatred and unaliving people because you don't like what they say. Use your words. If you don't like what they say, engage with them. Talk to them. Find out why you don't like what they say. Don't just make an assumption because you heard it on Fox News or Newsmax or whatever right-wing hatred station you watch. We the people. I love you. Crazy and impossible. This is crazy. This is crazy and impossible that a brown Latino man who has been spit up and chewed out and spit back out by the country he loves wants to be your president. It's crazy. There we go. There's the high IQ people I've been waiting for. Trump, 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 Trump. They can barely spell it because I think, oh no, they spelled it right this time. Because usually they don't even spell it right. Cowards, traitors, beta boy, bitch followers. They don't have a shred of leadership. They wouldn't know leadership if it punched them in the face. Yes, President. Hey, you added 2 more words. All right. He can spell 3 words, guys. Teoski again. Oh, my God, Teoski. God bless you guys.